Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dicky. I'm the Honorary VP of GBA Business School. Today we are very honored to have two honorable guests, Raymond, Dr. Raymond Wong, and Dr. Stephen Goh. Raymond is the Deputy Chairman and CEO of Raymond Industry. And Stephen Goh, Stephen is the advisor to the board, executive coach, and expert in process manufacturing, MedTech, and IT. So welcome to the GBA Business School. Okay, so today we are going to talk about digital transformation for manufacturing. So to begin with, I want to ask the two guests, what is the role of digital transformation towards manufacturing industry? So what do you think, Stephen?
To me, digital transformation is talking about breaking down of borders. That means breaking down the borders between the information, the data, or breaking down the borders between the manufacturing industry factories. For example, I work a lot in the process engineering and industries. And process engineering industries, we're talking about things like petrochemicals, cosmetics, food, paper, metals, and so on. Traditionally, we would supply these things to manufacturers in the discrete manufacturing industry so that they might make an air purifier like Raymond does, because he uses plastics and metals and filters and electrical cords and so on, right? But I think digital transformation, what it will do, it will break the borders between our industries and Raymond's, because over time, we will not just be a B2B business, and he will not just be a B2 distributor business or B2 consumer business. It will all be collapsed into integration. And the data and the products and also the IP and the collaboration and even the money will be sort of floating in a cloud amongst our stakeholders.
Okay, what do you think, Raymond?
Well, I think, digital transformation, a lot of people, they have the misconception that, it means, that it, automation, in manufacturing, it also means, having, robots, at our factory, but to me, I think, the correct interpretation of digital transformation is really, a faster reaction time to, what consumers want, and, to enhance that kind of like fast decision making and fast reaction to the consumers' need. You really need some kind of like system or platform to analyze the data real time, so that you can make real time decision and for your target audience. Okay.
So it's just not about automation; it's more than that. Yeah.
Automation actually is very old. You're talking about Toyota system, or General Motor, having an automation line, or a Boeing, automation line, like building a 747, This is like 50 years old concept, This is not digital transformation. Digital transformation, is really about, linking up, the suppliers and the end user or the customers, so that you have a product that you manufacture that will you manufacture something that they want. So in order to do that, what you are actually doing, like what Stephen's saying, you are eliminating the middleman. For example, if we sell directly to the consumers, then we are eliminating the distribution warehouse and the wholesaler. And if likewise, if we are having the platform to communicate with suppliers around the world, that means it poses a threat to local suppliers, and that also will give us advantage to lower the cost, because that we open the competition for all the suppliers worldwide. So digital transformation really is like what Stephen says, like borderless, and also it help manufacturer to optimize not only the process cost, but also the entire value chain cost.
Yeah.
It's not just automation; it's also a platform, a digital platform to share information and smooth all the process within the manufacturing from the sources of raw material up to the end user. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I think what Raymond's talking about is very important because automation traditionally, that means very few people make decisions. And then you close your eyes and the products come out at the end. We're talking about something totally different in the way the world works. Today, every piece of data can give you new insights. It's smart. And if there are more people, more eyes, more brains thinking about what's happening in the world, so you can make much better decisions. And Raymond's talking about optimization. You can optimize at a factory level, at a two-factory level, at a supply chain level, or all the way into the living room where my wife is doing some cooking.
okay.
Right? So it's about being smarter because the data allows you to do things smartly. No one takes out a slide rule and do things anymore, right? You Google and you calculate, and it's a different world,
Okay.
right?
Right. Thank you so much. Okay, Stephen, I heard you have a 3-point approach for business transformation. Could you help to introduce to the public?
Yeah, I think actually mainland entrepreneurs have a lot of good words for it. They have like 500, but this is my Western way of explaining it. The 3 words are like the word World Wide Web. Everybody knows World Wide Web. So what I'm talking about is the world. You have to know what's happening in the world. Either big issues like climate change, or like the trade war, or the Cold War between China and USA, or the wildfires in California or Australia. That's what's happening in the world. Because we factory operators and manufacturing people can no longer just look at our conveyor belt or our process reactors. You have to look at the world. Because like Raymond says, everything is interacting. Everything is related. So you gotta look outside. So my recommendation, you start with the world, look outside first. Second, in this day and age, everything we do, the world is watching because everybody is a KOL, everybody is a web reporter, everybody has Instagram. So what I'm doing in my factory or what I'm doing with my wastewater in a place in Zhongshan or Nansha is very, very under scrutiny, not just by people that live in Nansha or Zhongshan, but also by possibly people in Hong Kong where the water flows out to the Great Bay Area, right? So these are very important topics. We look at bottles that come from the north in the Lantau beaches. So what we have to have a purpose. We have to really pay attention to environmental, social, and governance sustainability. And Raymond's expert on that. But in general, social issues is everybody's responsibility. So are environmental issues. And so as the Art of War Sun Ji Bingfa says, you know the world, you know why you exist, you know why the world needs you, why they prefer you compared to your competitors, why the world needs you to have a purpose to do better business and not just pollute the world or make social problems. Then it comes back to the last W, and it's we. You come back to yourself. So world, what's happening outside, why you're a better company. Better means socially responsible, environmentally responsible. If not, you better think twice because you're not going to last very long. And lastly, you come back to we, what we do today and what we want to do tomorrow as an enterprise, like Raymond can describe.
Thank you, Stephen. So based on Stephen's 3-point approach, Raymond, could you share your experience and practice in the digital transformations in your factory?
Okay. Dicky, the last few years, I was very fortunate that I have been working with Xiaomi, and I have also learned from some of his webinar that the Xiaomi strategy in digital transformation and how that company execute digital transformation in manufacturing. For example, they stress the need to build an ecosystem, not only for the parent company but also for the supply chain and also for their end users and customers. Okay, so the whole ecosystem is integrated and borderless, like what Stephen was describing. And in this ecosystem, there are things that Mr. Legion, he mentioned that you have to notice, and take notes, which is consumer always wants the thing that they need as necessity. Okay, if they need this necessity, there's a product built around this necessity, and the basic necessity in life is air, water, food, and a light, etc. So when I listened, to his strategic thoughts, I was thinking, oh, how I can reapply that into my factory. So, I talked to my top management team, and then we create, what we call a clean air ecosystem strategy. Because we have been building air purifier, for some of the major brand customers, and for the past maybe 10 to 15 years, and we have expertise, in that field. So it's natural, for us, to build an ecosystem around clean air, okay, and how we can clean the air, clean the environment, and benefit the world. So luckily, during the COVID pandemic, and also during the California and the Australian wildfire, we managed to build a platform, digital platform, that we can take the data directly from the media or from the end user, etc. And then we have product that target that particular country or area. For example, I have customer, in California, right after the wildfire, I just sent him a WhatsApp message that said, well, we have a few products, that may be suitable for you. Do you want to just put on your logo, your brand logo, and then you can sell, in the US? And 24 hours later, he said yes, and I got a big order. Okay. Likewise, in Italy during the pandemic, I also have customers there saying that, oh, we have a very serious situation. Do you have something that you can probably like kill some contaminants or germs or whatever? I said, well, air purifier, they are effective in removing 0.5 micron, like pollutants, etc. But I don't know how effective a air purifier will contain COVID pandemic. But then the customer said, I don't care, as long as I can show my customers that it's cleaning the air and it creating a safe environment for them, either at home or at work, then we want to place the order. So digital transformation is about transmitting the data and information fast enough for decision maker to make fast decision and to launch the product, to the end user who need that particular product. So I think after we launched this digital transformation campaign by upgrading our ERP system, enterprise resource system, then from a legacy system, a very arcane, system that we have to extract information and then we have to analyze them, to a web-based, real-time data analytic ERP system, to help us make fast decision and do data analytic. It really helps, and also, we have IoT features, on some of our products that we can collect data back from the end users. They will tell us, whether they like a particular product or not, whether the product are working effectively or not, through, the mobile phone apps, and the Wi-Fi system. So we can collect all those data to improve, our products later on. So digital transformation really helps, to improve both the quality of our product and also to help us to think outside the box, about new innovation that end user and end consumer wants.
So in summary, Raymond, you are doing really good by making use of cloud computing, data analytic, Internet of Things, and also supply chain management system.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm good at doing that, but I have a capable team starting doing that. This is only the beginning, of a new venture, for our manufacturing company. and we have already seen, very good results, from all the exercise that we have implemented in the last 2 years. Our sales has increased, and also, our bottom line has also increased. So during the pandemic, this is very, very satisfactory, to see this kind of like digital transformation help, our company grow. And
Okay, nowadays most people think that fintech is only related to financial industry. So how would you comment about that? And would fintech relate to manufacturer, and how would fintech help their operation? What do you think? Maybe Stephen?
I think fintech is not only related to financial industry. I think it's related to everybody. Because as we talked about, the world is becoming borderless. There will be no more borders between a process industry company to a discrete manufacturing company to a distributor to a consumer, right? It will come straight, almost from the oil well, straight into the living room where my wife is cooking or cleaning the air, as the case may be. The reason it appeared first in the financial industry is because financial industry has very little physical presence. It's about people, services, and it doesn't have a lot of concrete things to sell. And people are the most creative and flexible part of any industry. And so when you're in finance, you can very quickly change your mind, be more open-minded, be borderless, go across borders, and so on. And fintech, the transfer of money, the touching of money and data, can very easily take place in the banks and insurance companies first. But what's really important is, as we understand that fintech will come into our lives, all industries can participate because data has no borders, especially with cloud computing and data centers around the world, all right? And intellectual property has less and less borders because there are cross-borders team. The best vaccines will take place across borders. The best clinical trials will take place across borders. The best patents for air filtering material, media, or maybe for the mechanisms will take place with a team in California, Hong Kong, Shenzhen, and I don't know, maybe in France. So these things can take place across, IP data can take place across borders. And then money can take place across borders because capital is fluid. So if you have all those things, then fintech is coming to all of you because it can happen where the data is. There's digitalization of the RMB. There is crypto. All these things have no borders, and any industry can use them. May they be in process industry or discrete manufacturing or in the consumer industry or in the wallet that is my pocket.
So Raymond, you have some interesting story about it?
yeah, I think fintech, really, like what Stephen said, relate to daily life. And being a manufacturer, we always have to, travel around. We have to meet customers. We have to meet suppliers, and we have to, probably go to store, to check, what kind of products are selling well, what kind of product not selling well. So that means during our daily travel, and we experience, the fintech products. One of my the experience that triggered me to learn more about fintech and also to implement some digital transformation at our factory is because a few years ago, I was traveling with a friend, in China, and unfortunately the car broke down, and then luckily it's very close to like a McDonald's drive-in. So we walk into a drive-in, and I have renminbi cash in my pocket, but at that time I had no WeChat Pay, no Alipay. So, but McDonald's at the time already pushed for fintech, transaction. So when I tried to pay cash, they wouldn't accept cash. I said, how about credit card? They said, well, sorry, the credit card machine was not installed properly yet, so we could only accept like WeChat Pay or Alipay. So with only cash and credit card in my pocket, I couldn't even afford to buy a Big Mac. So luckily, my friend who traveled with me, had like WeChat Pay, so he could purchase the burger, and after the meal, I start worrying about how we get back to the factory, because it's difficult to call a taxi And my friend said, oh, easy, you know, I have the apps on my phone, you know, it's like Didi, you know, it's like share ride, you know. So just punch in the number, you know, get the GPS location, and then he find the share ride to come to the McDonald's drive-in to pick us up. So since that day, I know, even though I'm a manufacturer, you know, I cannot, you know, continue to live the life that my father was living, you know, without any fintech product in on my cell phone or in my pocket. So fintech really, you know, affect like daily life. You know, even if manufacturer who resist the change, who still want to do it, you know, the discrete manufacturing the old way, old-fashioned way, you know, I think they can escape, you know, facing this kind of changes and disruption, you know, one day.
So I guess supply chain is about information flow and material flow, but fintech on the other hand is about money flow. I think it's very important not only for financial industry, but for all FP individual, for all the industry. So I guess the interesting story, I think your interesting story has changed your mind.
Right, and also my father, you know, about 30 years ago when I first joined the company, he always mentioned the importance of finance to me, you know. And I remember, you know, I designed the first product, you know, and then, you know, I sold the product to a customer in US. I was very happy. I told my father my team was going to celebrate because we make the first shipment. Then my father told me, I said, don't get too excited before you get paid. So with fintech, you know, there are more ways to get paid than the traditional banking, through traditional banking. So, you know, a lot of people now, they get used to, you know, like ordering food from on Deliveroo, you know, using Deliveroo apps or Food Panda apps, or, you know, you know, a lot of banks that are talking about virtual banking, etc. So if a manufacturer are not equipped to, you know, work with virtual banks, are not equipped to work with a lot of this digital company per se, you know, then we will be left behind very, you know, quickly by our competitors.
So I thank you, Raymond, your point. So next, I want to ask both of you. So, are there enough talents in Hong Kong or Greater Bay Area to support the manufacturer to do the digital transformation? So, what do you think? Any suggestion for the?
Absolutely. Because I think Hong Kong is a very special place. I lived some years in Singapore and also some other countries. What I discovered was Singapore, as far as I could tell, did not have a lot of returnees coming back to Singapore and start businesses, family, or factories. But as you know, you can knock on any private or public estate door in Hong Kong, and I'm sure somebody has a friend overseas or relative overseas. What's even more important is that friend or relative might even come back to Hong Kong and work, given the right opportunity. It could be a dentist, it could be a graphic designer, or it could be a, I don't know, IC chip designer. So it can be, Hong Kong has a lot of friends overseas. And I think the government talks about the connectors, connections, and so on. I sincerely believe that. I think in a borderless, digitalized world, we need talent from around the world. It can be like, I was talking to somebody from the university, from one university just now, and he was telling me how he went to countries like India and Russia, where there are students wanting to come to Hong Kong, and there are alumni. In cases like that, then you can see Hong Kong has enough friends, and people like Hong Kong.
So as you.
Well, of course, of course. There's no better place to live in the world than Hong Kong. And there's no better place to, I think most important thing is to learn than in Hong Kong because of the diversity, because of the complexity of being stuck between a rising China and maybe a protectionist USA. Where else can you learn, you know, how life should be lived in the business world than in Hong Kong? Than in Hong Kong by nature, Greater Bay Area, because there will be this easy transportation and flow of information, intellectual property, and money around the Great Bay Area in Hong Kong.
Okay. How about you, Raymond?
I think, you know, obviously Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area, they have lots of talents. Otherwise, you know, Tencent and also like Xiaomi, they would not have their headquarters in Shenzhen area. Okay, so the success of this company, the pioneers, in the digital transformation, well, Alibaba, Tencent, also Xiaomi, signify that that we have enough talent, in not only Shenzhen but like what Stephen said, around the world. But why Hong Kong left behind, in innovation and also in digital transformation is perhaps we are too spoiled. My father's generation and my generation, because there's no way to make faster money than the real estate in Hong Kong. Okay, so if you can make fast money in real estate, then why invest a lot of money in digital transformation, but with higher risk, but unpredictable returns? So, and that's why a lot of the talent in Hong Kong, I don't think they have find a venue to innovate and also to contribute their talents. When I look at like Silicon Valley in California, my brother was working there since he graduated from Caltech, and he's a expert in signal compression. I asked him, I said, well, do you have your whole team in the US? Or he said, no, the team that report to me, one is from Bangalore in India, the other is from Mumbai in India. And sometimes I'm puzzled, why the Hong Kong government always talk about the importance of cyberport and also of the science park, when a lot of the successful high-tech company in the Silicon Valley, in Shenzhen, they're already outsourcing the talents around the world. And from the pandemic, one thing I also learned is it's very efficient and effective to work from home as well. So we shouldn't suffocate our innovation by restricting the talent to work in a specific area like the science park or cyberport. We should encourage the talents to work around the world, from home, from Starbucks, from whatever coffee shop that you prefer, or wherever you feel you are the most productive. So and this way, I think Hong Kong can regain the competitive advantage, in high tech and also innovation and also in digital transformation.
So I guess it's not about the physical place. It's about we can actually work virtually in anywhere.
Right, and actually, since the pandemic, I work at two major places. One at home, the other at Starbucks or Pacific Coffee. Okay, so and fortunately, my company net profit, for the first 9 months has increased 85%. So that tells you, work from home, not working at your office, can be more productive. And also, having a cup of Starbucks, at your favorite Starbucks location can also help you stimulate your innovative thoughts and also, can help you, be more creative.
Yeah, I can't agree with Raymond more, because I do a lot of work in Thailand and in Europe, but actually I've not flown out of Hong Kong since Chinese New Year, about 8 months ago. But we do our work on the internet, and people used to think that Thai people are very, how should I say, familiar. You have to be present, you have to be face to face. But even Thai culture, they have got to used to working over Zoom or Microsoft. So the world has changed. So even very warm tropical cultures, people can be used to working over the internet. Of course, it's really nice still to go to Thailand for Tom Yum Goong, but then you go there for fun. Work can be anywhere, in Pacific here,
Right.
Coffee here, and Starbucks in Thailand, or in my little study room in Hong Kong.
So given the low income tax in Hong Kong, actually we can attract more talent to live in Hong Kong and work for all the company in over the world, right?
Or even better, because Hong Hong Kong tax, I think it's only salary tax. Correct me, I'm not a tax consultant, but I think it's based on the location. So if you're a Thai person working in Hong Kong, you don't pay Hong Kong tax. Yeah, of course you have to look after the Thai part, but then why not?
Okay, last question. So recently, the central government has just announced that Shenzhen will be the engine for the GBA development. So how would this affect the manufacturer's strategic plan? Maybe Raymond?
Okay. I think, as I explained, I think, it doesn't matter about the factory physical location anymore, because since the pandemic, I am ashamed to say that I haven't been back to my factory since March this year. But
A few months.
yeah, but the factory was running better without my presence. So something must be either because of me or because of my staff was doing something right. So the last 6 months, we have adopted a lot of the remote management tools like Zoom, like Microsoft Teams, like WebEx, and also we have find a way to work with our customers, through live chat or through a shared platform, on product development, etc. So I see that Shenzhen will be the engine for the Greater Bay Area development, and my factory is located in that area. So I don't see that I will put myself at a disadvantage by moving my factory elsewhere. But at the same time, I'm also seeing the need to be closer to the end user in the digital era. What I mean is, I have started to talk to a manufacturing partner in Vietnam. I've started to talk to a manufacturing partner in Mexico, one manufacturing partner in Malaysia. So in the next few years, maybe I will have some products, that I will have them make outside China and closer to the end users. So but we are still analyzing our data, what will be, our target area, of our target consumers. So I think the central government's purpose is very good, but it will not limit the engine to be in Shenzhen, but that means the car will be traveling around the world still. So it really doesn't matter where is the engine location in my opinion. It's more like a a spiritual motto, for the spiritual leader, saying that the engine is in Shenzhen, okay? Because the labeling of the location, I think, is a moot point. In the digital world, when you have digital currency, it doesn't matter whether you pay in Shenzhen, whether you pay in Cyprus, whether you pay in Russia, or you pay in somewhere in Africa like Nigeria. As long as you have a market there and you have accessibility to that particular market, you need to set up some kind of like fintech capability to get the money, to collect the money, and also some digital capability to service that market. So I really feel that as a manufacturer, the strategic plan really is to not think about, I'm from Hong Kong, so I should stay in Hong Kong. I'm in Shenzhen, so I should stay in Shenzhen. We have to think a little bit broader, okay, in a broader term, that I'm a human being. That's why I have to serve human being in the world. So I think that should be the strategy. Stephen?
I like how Raymond ended it talking about the human part. Earlier, I talked about knowing the world, knowing why. The why part is about human important things, the purpose, why you do things better for the environment so we have better air, why we do social things so the employees can have a better life. And the last part is we, coming back to we. And it comes back to this human part. I would just encourage people to think about human values. There are some easy places to think about how to serve human beings. There is a United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And basically, these are things that universally everybody agrees on, like better air, better water, better living, right? And if you focus on those as a industrialist, as a factory operator, you will find a lot of inspirations. And then the other part is humans have infinite imagination. We don't stop thinking beyond our heads. We can talk here, we're basically influencing each other. I come away learning something from Raymond and you, and I would move in a totally different direction, maybe in a different part of the world. And this human-centric part is very, very important. And I would encourage everybody, after you've done the most wonderful air purifier, most under cosmetic compact for ladies or men's skincare, think about the humanity of it all. Yeah, what is it doing for the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal? How it affects us and our future generations. And that will be the inspiration where no machines can ever compete with human beings. It's imagination and playing piano, like Raymond.
So, wow. Thank you so much. I guess we learned a lot from the two honorable guests. And thank you so much. And thank you for all your sharing. So I look forward to see you next time. Thank you.